nice good morning to you once again. It's Friday, the 20th of March, 2026. The program is On the Lord's Side, Christian Perspectives on News and Current Events. My name is Olufemi Oguntokun. You can follow me on X at Olufemi OG. You can follow Gospel Bells Radio on X at Gospel Bells Radio. I want to begin this morning with this video that has since been making its round on social media in Nigeria. The video of an ex-banker, a lady known as Flora Iworo, who made an emotional plea against Nigeria's contract staff exploitation. I wanted to listen to this video, and then after that I'm going to also play another video. You're going to listen to the audio portion of it, of course, of one of the well-known actors in Nigeria, known by the character of Papa Ajasco, who also made certain allegations that bear semblance to what this lady spoke about in a video. So first, this video by this ex-banker, Flora Iworo, who made an emotional plea against Nigeria's contract staff exploitation. As always, we're going to engage with this from a Christian point of view. But first, let us listen to this lady.
That it would have happened in my lifetime. That I see that this revolution that I prayed for, that this revolution that I craved for, that it happened in my lifetime. But this is my disappointment. So I'm going to give up at this point, because the people in my generation, they are too afraid to speak up. I did my best. For all of you that are no longer working your asses out on Saturdays and Sundays now, I did it. So I woke up this morning feeling really angry about something that is going on in the banking industry in Nigeria, and I want to talk about it. I want to address it. Maybe this is going to be the last time I'm ever going to talk about contract staff in Nigeria. Ever. This is going to be it. I have done so much in this regard. I think I have done too much in this regard, and this is just going to be last I'm ever going to talk about it, because many of you contract staff in Nigerian banks, many of you are cowards, many of you are fools, many of you are enablers of your oppressors. Many of you, I even made a post, and instead of you to comment, all of you are running to my WhatsApp. So you people are still even afraid. That is, they have instilled the fear in you. They have fed you with the fear to the extent that you are even afraid to leave a comment in public, because you don't want them to do what to you exactly. So this thing happens in Nigeria, like periodically. Maybe in every decade you hear that something like this has happened. So recently, First Bank laid off contract staff, and I was really wondering, like, what really happened. I reached out to, I made a post to know exactly what's happened, and some of them have reached out to me. And it's not about them right now. It's about something that's been happening in Nigeria. So the bank just wake up one day and realizes that, okay, these people are getting too old for the system. Let's lay them off. Let's look for a valid, beautiful reason to give them, to send them home. Because, many of them are in their 40s now. Some of them are close to 50. Some of them are light in their ages. Some of them are close to 50 now. And they are like, okay, let's look for something fine to lay them off. And they lay them off. So First Bank will do it. Zenith Bank will do it. GT Bank will do it. UBA will do it. Every bank will do it, because this is like, to them, is a normal thing. It's a normal thing for them to steal people's time. The contract companies in Nigeria that are recruiting staff for these banks, all of you are cursed. All of you, you are cursed. Oh, you don't know. You are eating and feeding from the sweat. You are eating and feeding from the time of Nigerians, and nobody is talking about you. And for you, I'm particularly doing this video for the contract staff, you themselves. How long will you people keep quiet? How long will you people be afraid to rise up to your oppressors? I honestly prayed, I honestly wished that the day will come, that it would have happened in my lifetime, that I see that this revolution that I prayed for, that this revolution that I craved for, that it happened in my lifetime. But this is my disappointment. So I'm going to give up at this point, because the people in my generation, they are too afraid to speak up. They are too afraid to rise up to their oppressors. So I'm giving up. All hope is lost now. I am praying. I don't even need to pray, because I know and I trust that the Gen Zs will do this job that all of you failed at. The Gen Zs will rise up to these oppressors, and then they will be able to bring out the reality of contract, the fact of
And of course, that's the voice of this lady, said to be an ex-banker, Flora Iworo, making an emotional plea against Nigeria's contract staff exploitation. I do not know whether you have had any experience with contract staffing in any Nigerian bank or in any Nigerian institution, but and if you have had any such experience, please do feel free to leave us comments on WhatsApp. Just tap that WhatsApp widget and let us know what your own experience has been. This is the meat of this video. This lady, Flora, the digital banker, in this raw video recounted her 10 years organizing colleagues against abuses like meager salaries, no promotions, separate lunchrooms, and sudden firings, often betrayed by peers who snitch to management. The plea hit hard amid First Bank of Nigeria dismissing hundreds of long-term contract staff this month, many after training replacements with just 3 months severance payment. So you need to understand why many Nigerian banks prefer to have contract staff rather than permanent staff members. Of course, with as with every decent country, once you have employees, then you also have obligations towards them. You have obligation to provide, to make provisions for certain things, including health, health insurance, to provide for their pensions, and then those employees enjoy a certain level of security of employment. If you want to dismiss any one of them, you will have to follow their contract and follow the law. So employees who are employees properly so called, which who for the sake of this discourse we're going to call full-time employees, they have certain protections. And what has come to light is that some employers do not want to take up those obligations under the law. So what they do is, instead of directly employing staff with whom they would enter into employment agreement, to whom they will hold obligations, they then go to some entities. They go to XYZ Limited, for example, and they say to XYZ Limited, look, supply us human beings who can do this work. They describe the work to them. Supply us human beings who can do this work. The human beings will have no relationship with us. We're not going to sign any contract with them. And of course, why would they not want to? Because they don't want to be sued. There's something called privity of contract in the law of contract. Privity of contract, just generally speaking, simply it's a principle that says only the parties to a contract can enforce it, can sue on it. If you're not a party to the contract, you cannot sue on it. So they say, look, just get us people who can do this work. We are not going to sign any contract with these people, so they will never be able to sue us. But we're going to sign a contract with you as an entity. You go and get us this stuff. Whatever you need to pay them, you tell us. We pay you that sum, and whatever you pay them, ultimately we don't care. What we care about is that we have people to do the work that needs to be done. And this has been an issue in Nigeria's labor law for quite a while. There was a time that I know that the Nigerian Labour Congress was really agitating against this, and rightly so, because it is not the case that I am advocating for the outlawing of contract staffing. There are situations where to have your institutions staffed by such people could be beneficial to all parties. There are certain cases like that, but there should be protections. Now that we have observed the abuses, now that we have observed the excesses, there must be protection. Any decent society ought to put in some protection around that kind of arrangement. So the NLC was at some point agitating against it. It did not obviously bear fruit, but this year it was earlier reported that one of the leading banks in Nigeria has let go, or rather has rescinded or terminated a contract that affected quite a number of contract staff in its employment. They were given just 3 months severance after many of them were made to train their replacements. So you know with contract staffing, this is the way it happens. if the bank, for example, has contracted with XYZ Limited, with XYZ Limited having the obligation to supply staff to do some work at that bank, the first bank could, sorry, did I just say first bank? Although first bank is in the news, but that bank could just wake up and then terminate the contract with XYZ Limited. And once that contract with XYZ Limited is terminated, then it flows from that fact that the contract with, anyway, there was even no code. It flows from that fact that those persons supplied by XYZ Limited to that bank would no longer be allowed to go to work in that bank. And so you have here a situation where if those workers were directly employed by the bank would have had to fulfill certain contractual obligations to each of those workers, right? To each of them. In this case, once it is contract staffing, that bank would have no obligation to any of those workers, but only to that XYZ Limited. And of course, you can imagine what kind of contract they would sign with such a company, such a middle man company like XYZ. They would have signed ahead of time a contract that would make it easy for the relationship to be terminated. And so it was this development from First Bank of Nigeria that led to the public discussing this issue of contract staffing exploitation again. And this lady, of course, made quite an emotional plea. Some people have said, look, she's making the plea just for content, just for her to gain traction on social media. I do not always like to hear arguments like that. It is important for us to look at the merits of arguments put out there in the public space, the merit of things being said, instead of impugning the motives of those who are doing it. I mean, it is classic fallacy where people say, "Oh, Femi is saying this. It is because he is this or because he is that." That is ad hominem. You are attacking the person. Let us listen to the message and let us engage with it. Many people have commented on this. Somebody wrote saying that somebody will say, quote, "I saw this heartbreaking video of a lady exposing corruption in Nigeria's banking sector. Corruption has now been normalized to the extent that all sectors of the country are trapped in deep and messy corruption. Just look at the evil happening in the banking sector." Another person wrote saying, "Is there any institution in this country that functions normally?" You know, this is people saying, look, if you have institutions that otherwise should be should act with some bit of caution and adherence to the basic principles of decency. If you have people like that not doing that, shouldn't we be worried that no institution in Nigeria is now immune from these from corruption and from what many Nigerians call anyhowness? Another person wrote saying, "Contract staff in banks in Nigeria are slaves. No promotion, no salary increment. The recruiting firms get at least 30% of your pay. You work harder than regular bank staff, and you can't have savings." And I think this person has articulated the concerns here, especially in the fact that you find that the recruiting firms, those are the firms I call the middleman companies. The recruiting firms, they get 30% of the pay. I mean, you don't even know. Sometimes maybe even higher than that. And those people engaged by those recruiting firms are then just, left without any remedy at all. And this is a matter that should get the attention of any decent government, I must say, because you're talking about citizens who are being exploited. Of course, some would say that, well, they knew what they signed up for. Now, and that's a fair argument. Really, to say, look, these people that you call slaves, the contract staff, they knew what they were signing for. Pacta sunt servanda, that's what we say in law. The contract speaks for itself, and you are bound by the terms of your contract. You are bound by the terms of your contract. Pacta sunt servanda, but a decent country should be asking the question, or a decent society should be asking itself, why is it that you have many people who are ready to sign up to these terms? It is because they were otherwise unable to secure better terms of employment elsewhere. And if they were unable to secure better terms of employment elsewhere, you should be asking yourself, that should be asking itself, why is that the case? Why is that the case? And many people have done the analysis. They look at the annual reports of many of the banks who engage in contract staffing, and they find that if they truly wanted to have these employees on board, they would have been able to afford it. But that brings to the fore again the theme that we are engaging with, the theme of exploitation. Exploitation is when a person who is out there for the purpose of making profit sees an opportunity to make profit or even greater profit, even at the expense of some other person. The person goes ahead and he makes the profit. The classic definition of exploitation is the action or fact of treating someone unfairly in order to benefit from their work. Treating someone unfairly in order to benefit from their work. Sometimes you're not treating that person illegally. In this case now, under Nigerian laws, the contract staffing arrangement is not illegal, strictly speaking. And nobody is calling for it to be outlawed, because then that will work hardship in some other cases where it is the right approach. But there must be some regulations around it. And for employers who reason and think from Christian perspectives, you find that even those things you're allowed to do, which would otherwise be unfair on others, you are not supposed to do them. Exploitation, the action or fact of treating someone unfairly in order to benefit from their work. And let a spade be called a spade. That is exactly what these institutions are doing. That's exactly what they are doing when they get this contract staff on board and pay them far less than they would pay regular staff members, deny them or even deprive them of benefits that regular staff members would be entitled to, and turn a blind eye when the recruiting firms cheat them. They turn a blind eye when the recruiting firms cheat them, and then they disengage them without providing for cushioning benefits that should otherwise be available to any staff members being let off. And all of this in the context of profit-making institutions. You know, if we were talking about all of this in the context of a struggling institutions, you will say, well, this institution is struggling, it is incumbent on them to take decisions and follow steps that would help them to stay afloat. But we're talking about institutions that are profitable. In fact, institutions that are super profitable, institutions that are reporting fantastic profits, with their shareholders and their owners going home smiling to the bank every year, sometimes every quarter or half yearly. And so this is something that should get our attention. But before we fully engage it from a Christian perspective, I also want to play this clip of the man popularly known on TV in Nigeria as Papa Ajasco. Papa Ajasco, one of the things he said in this video, quote, "I was getting 22,500 naira per episode of Papa Ajasco in 1997. Even from this first sentence, you have to pause and lament the state of the entertainment industry itself. This is a man who has been so well established in his character in Nigeria, on TV in Nigeria, and I know many people will be shocked to hear that, this man who has been so popular, doing so much, and well known on the TV screens, could it be true that he was getting paid 22,500 per episode of Papa Ajasco in 1997, and then he said, now in 2026, they pay me 45,000 naira per episode. I don't have a home or car of my own. It's not been easy. I can't take deals as Papa Ajasco without permission from Wale Adenuga. Wale Adenuga is the producer of Papa Ajasco, which is a well-known entertainment program on Nigeria television. I want you to listen to this.
The money they pay you, is it up to like maybe 2 million naira?
At all. Like how much I'm being paid per episode now. Just take for instance, they are paying me for 45,000 naira per episode.
Right now?
Right now.
In 2026?
2026.
Jesus Christ.
60,000 naira per episode. And then if you now record them up to 13 episodes, times it until after a year or 2 years.
Papa Ajasco.
That particular character has been registered by Wale Adenuga. And anybody that wants to use me outside, they want to use me with the character, with everything that I have. But it has never been easy for me. And that's why you don't see me on adverts, you don't see me on billboard and all that. So it's painful. I can't use the name Papa Ajasco unless I go and take permission.
You can't even use the costume as well.
I can't use this costume. Yes.
And because of this, you've had limited opportunities.
I have limited opportunities because that character, very strong character, they want to use me as Abiodun Ayoyinka, they want to see that as Papa Ajasco, just like Papa Ajasco, everything like Papa Ajasco, and it's always difficult for me to do it. Things have never been okay for years back now. I was working with Lagos State Council for Arts and Culture under state government. Now I am a retired officer. I retired 5 years ago, and it has never been easy for me. Always thinking every day, no car of my own, no house of my own.
You don't have a car.
I don't have a car.
I think you should have made a lot of money from your fame back then. I mean, do you understand what it feels like for the whole Nigerian household to watch you every day?
It's not that easy. They always pay us per episode. At times we record 8 episodes, 9 episodes per the amount. We started with Wale Adenuga with 22,500 naira. That was 1997. But now it's not easy for you to collect a pay on episodes and then you relax at home and then come back again after the year.
So how many episodes do you guys film in a year?
12
episodes in a year.
episodes in a year.
So outside this episode, you don't do any other thing.
I don't do any other thing.
Okay, so I mean that's just a segment from that video where one podcaster interviewed that man, popularly known as Papa Ajasco, who then complained and revealed that even in 2026, he's being paid something close to about 45,000 naira per episode. Many who know of this brand and of the income that must derive to the producer, and that's Wale Adenuga, I must be shocked to say, well, is it the case that the producer himself has not been making that much money? Why would you pay your lead character so well known and establish such mega sum? For the records, let us point out that Wale Adenuga himself has come out to debunk some of the statements made by this man whose real name is Ayoyinka, but popularly known as Papa Ajasco. According to this report, the very next day, Wale Adenuga himself dropped a detailed official statement that spread like wildfire on X. He called Ayoyinka's claims false and misleading and addressed the wave of misinformation, emotional commentary, uninformed public intervention. He praised Ayoyinka as a versatile actor who has played the role of Papa Ajasco so wonderfully well, and said there is no irreconcilable difference between us, that they are still close. On finances and support, he said Ayoyinka was a civil servant for over 30 years. And that they even had to get permission from Lagos State Office for him to feature in some of their films. He said that Wale Adenuga Productions gave him a car, just like they did for co-star Pa James Ajiribi. He used not less than 5 cars, including a Mercedes-Benz, and to the best of my knowledge, he has a house in Ogun State. Adenuga then asked pointedly, why is Abiodun Ayoyinka claiming to be broke? Where are the investment from his over 30 years of meritorious service? What happened to his gratuities? Now, and I wanted to understand this. I mean, myself being a lawyer, we craft statements for people, we craft defenses. So we should be able to identify when a person is trying to skirt the issues. You know, when you are skirting the issues is that you are creating a straw man's argument. A straw man's argument is where you have been accused of X, but you are responding to Y. You know, you have been accused of doing ABC, but then in your response, you are responding to an argument that was not made, right? The argument, the allegations are A, B, C, but in your defense, you are responding to D, E, F. You are creating another argument for yourself. You are creating another accusation for yourself, for which to which you want to respond, because you must have a response. There are cases where, well, it is not allowed for you to be quiet, to be silent. You must have a response. So instead of if you have no answer to the real allegations, then you just give your answers to the allegations that were not put forward. In this case, you find, in my own view, as I read this statement from Wala Denuga Productions, you find this production outfit responding, or rather reacting to why this man Ayoyinka, who plays the role of Papa Ajasco, well, did not make investments for his over 30 years meritorious service to his gratuities. It's not saying that he paid him gratuities. He's not going to pay him gratuities. Ayoyinka Papa Ajasco has never been a staff in that sense. He's talking about the gratuities that Ayoyinka must have received from the Lagos State government. He's talking about Ayoyinka's over 30 years of service to the Lagos State government as an employee of the Lagos State, and he's asking the question: if he has served in Lagos State government as an officer for 30 years, if he received gratuities from Lagos State, what did he do with it? Now, you must agree with me that that's a straw man's argument. That is responding to an accusation that was never levied, this was never part of the conversation. The conversation has been that, is it the case that you are paying this lead actor 45,000 per episode in 2026? And someone has always said that when Christians are accused of things that are not so noble, the best answer I can give is a pointed, direct answer. Either a yes or a no, as Jesus encouraged us to do, admonished us to do. You either say, no, those allegations are false and totally false, or you are saying, this is true and there's a reason for this, you can explain it, or you apologize for it. But here we find Wala Denuga and his production outfit saying, hey, this man, we have given him cars over the years. And sometimes, part of the contract is that the person who is acting a rich man in your film, you want him also to have a car to drive around. It's not his. He said he has used not less than 5 cars, including Mercedes-Benz. Now, this is a kind of statement that you have to be discerning enough to know that he could be hiding much more than what is being said. He has used not less than. Is it the case that you have given him, or you have bought for him, not less than 5 cars that he owned? That's not the case. That cannot probably most likely be the case. He's saying that during the course of their relationship, he has been allowed to use like an official car. Been allowed to use not less than 5, including Mercedes-Benz. I mean, that goes to no issue. If you give somebody who is your lead actor the access to drive a car around just because you want to maintain his reputation as Papa Ajasco on and off the screen, that is not the same thing as buying him a car. So he said he has used not less than 5 cars, including Mercedes-Benz, and then that he has a house in Ogun State. That must be his hometown. And then that, well, he worked with the Lagos State government for 30 years. They did not save anything. He was paid gratuities by the Lagos State government. What happened to them? Those were not the accusations. Those were not the questions. Even Papa Ajasco did not couch them as accusations. But basically what he said was this, that Well, I didn't get Productions pay him in 2026 45,000 naira per episode. Yeah, we can understand. I understand that it's not allowed to copyright the brand name. The brand name must belong to Wala Denuga Productions, as it should be. But we see, of course, naturally on social media, we have people divided over this. With some people expressing sympathy for Ayoyinka, that's Papa Ajasco, and then some also listening to Wala Denuga Productions and saying, well, he has debunked them. I go back again to the classic definition of the word exploitation: the action or fact of treating someone unfairly in order to benefit from their work. So here we have it. This contract staffing matter in Nigerian banks, not illegal, not strictly illegal under Nigerian law, but what? But it amounts to exploitation. If you want to be fair and you want to look at the entirety of the structure, it's exploitation. You are treating someone unfair. You are not treating the person illegally. You are covered under the law. Perhaps you are perhaps not going to face any legal consequence for what you have done. But it's unfair. It's unfair. Again, in the case of this Papa Ajasco and the Well Identical production, you find again that pacta sunt servanda. A contract is a contract. Pacta sunt parties are bound by the terms of their contract. So you say, Papa Ajasco, you signed a contract, you are bound by it. Can you just keep short and not complain? That's what the court of law would say. Parties are bound by the terms of their contract. So here we are saying, Well Identical Productions has not debunked paying this man 45,000 naira per episode in 2026. So if that is the agreement that you signed, we say, Well Identical Productions, from a strictly legal point of view, you have not done anything. You have not done anything wrong. You have not done anything wrong. But again, we go to our word of the day. Exploitation, the action or fact of treating someone unfairly in order to benefit from the work. Treating someone unfairly, even if you have not treated them illegally. Deuteronomy 24, from 14 to 15, employers were forbidden from oppressing hired servants who were poor and needy, commanding payment before sunset because the worker depended on it for survival. Why do you think we have such an injunction to say you pay them before sunset? Because it is possible for the for the owner of the field to pay them the next day, and it would not have contravened any law. But say, look, if you are dealing with poor people and needy people, you just do what you have to do and do it well, even if you would not be breaking the law by doing otherwise. Do not muzzle an ox while it is treading out the grain. Deuteronomy 25:4. This is a principle as ensuring workers benefit from the fruits of their labor. You go again to 1 Timothy 5:18, and you have many warnings against exploitation. I love the one in Jeremiah 22:13. Woe to him who builds his house by unrighteousness, who uses his neighbor's service without wages and gives him nothing for his work. Somebody will say, oh, maybe this is talking about people who force people to work for them and don't pay them. He says, but it applies, you must agree, to people who give almost nothing for the work if you don't give value commensurate to the work being done. And that's why many of us who employ staff, we have come to the conclusion that if you're not able to pay people a decent wage for a particular role, don't even employ people at all for that role. Amos 2:7, we have the prophet there attacking those who trample the head of the poor into the dust of the earth. And these are very important things for us on the Lord's side. Those of us whose hearts have been transformed by the power of the Holy Spirit, we say to ourselves, we are not called only to do that which is legal. We are not just to comply with the law and say, look, I've complied with the law. Just like the Pharisees of old, we are to do what is right and what is fair. In fact, we are to be generous. Not to be foolish enough. I know you are running a business. You have to balance your books. Your overhead must not be too high, so much so that you cannot make a profit. But to say God values fairness and generosity over strict transactional merit-based compensation. We have to come to that understanding. Go and read Matthew 20, the parable of the workers in the vineyard. When Jesus illustrated and said, well, these people, they came in even at the late hour, but I decided to pay them generously. God values fairness and generosity over strict transactional merit-based compensation. So we must commend that lady, Flora Iworo, who has brought this matter of contract staff in Nigerian banks to the fore again. We must proclaim to all and sundry that although contract staffing is not illegal, strictly speaking, under Nigerian law, yet the manner in which it is deployed in many banks has led to the exploitation of many of those workers in the context of those banks making super profits every quarter, every year, making super profits every quarter, every year. It is not fair. It is called exploitation. Even if it's not illegal, it's called exploitation. And also with the case of Papa Ajasco, to the extent that Wale Adenuga has not denied having a contract with Papa Ajasco under which he pays him 45,000 naira per episode in 2026, it is called exploitation as well. And those of us who on the Lord's side, we know that even if particular cases of exploitations are not outlawed under human laws, under the laws of our nations, any form of exploitation does not glorify God. does not glorify God. God looks to his people not only to be fair, but also to be generous, not to be naive, and not to be foolish in the management of their resources, but to be fair and to be generous. And that's a call to you and to me. If you're an employer of labor, even if you're not an employer of labor, but from time to time you find yourself having to negotiate some things where you are the person who will determine what is to be paid. I'm not saying pay above the market rate. I'm not saying give all your money to those who are working for you, but always strive, like your master, to be fair and to be generous. So that people who come across you will say, wow, that's a decent man. That's a generous man. They say, why? Is that man so fair and generous? Because he's a Christian, right? By this, the what we know that we are disciples if we have love one for another, and that goes back to the to the crux of the matter, which Jesus rightly identified as what? As love. As love. Not only love for your neighbors, as the Jews understood it before Christ, not only love for your family members and those who are good to you, as Jesus exhorted them, and us, love for all and sundry. In the parable of the Good Samaritan, he made it clear to us when that man went to him, who then is my neighbor? Who then is my neighbor? Anyone to whom you stand in a relationship to help, that is your neighbor. And the biblical injunction on us is not only to comply with the laws of men, it is also to please God. By being God, by being like him, being fair and being generous. Okay, and next we go to this story that should be of concern to every Nigerian. Yesterday we were engaging with the story of how the King of England, Charles III, feted our President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and hosted him to a state banquet. And we mentioned that President Tinubu will be only the fourth head of state from Nigeria to be given such honor, right? And I mentioned the word honor like that for you to understand that, well, we're about to say something about that honor, which, with the benefit of information now trickling out of the United Kingdom, would probably be rightly labeled as dubious honor. There's something called dubious honor, right? Let me see how an AI platform would define dubious honor. What's dubious honor? A dubious honor is an ironic phrase describing a situation where someone receives a distinction, recognition, or selection that is actually unpleasant, undesirable, or embarrassing, or maybe you call it questionable honor, where the outcome is negative or not, despite it being presented as an achievement. I did mention in passing yesterday that when you have a country like the United Kingdom, in fact any country whatsoever, rolling out its red carpet and giving full honors to someone who has not been so deserving of it. You know, there are some people that, given their antecedents or given their history or given their achievement, you find almost universal acclaim. Everyone in unison saying, "Oh, this person is deserving of this honor." When you find something like that, maybe somebody who has had the antecedent of Nelson Mandela, for example, or some other people, he said this person is deserving. But sometimes, you see, most times when a nation like the UK rolls out its red carpet for visiting heads of state, it is because they have identified that, well, there are benefits accruing to the United Kingdom from doing that. And many discerning observers, since the last 2 days, observing how President Tinubu was so warmly welcomed in the UK and feted to that state banquet. I've been wondering, saying, really, what deal did the Tinubu administration reach with the UK that made it incumbent on the UK to so lavishly and so warmly welcome President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to the UK? Now, that official visit has since ended. According to news I saw this morning, President Tinubu indeed has returned to Nigeria. So the visit has ended. But now, as is the case, we are now beginning to understand the deals that were signed between the UK and Nigeria. Nigeria signs deal with UK to deport visa overstayers, failed asylum seekers, and criminals. You want to read that again? Nigeria has now signed a deal with the United Kingdom for the United Kingdom to deport to Nigeria visa overstayers, failed asylum seekers, and criminals. Now, let's take some steps back. You have to understand the problem of migration in the United Kingdom nowadays, and not only in the United Kingdom, in Europe and many parts of North Africa, where you have many people going to Europe and North Africa illegally. And that will be a problem in Europe in particular, where right in Europe itself, there are people who say, look, anybody who gets to our shore should be admitted in because maybe they were traumatized from their country of origin, and we are not going to send them away anyway. And then the problem is also compounded by the fact that many of these illegal migrants, you know what they do? Once they are about to enter into Europe, they throw away their passports. Some of them, from the get-go, did not even have a passport. They get on that journey from their home country to wherever without obtaining a passport from their country. Some they have passport, but when they're about to enter into the territory of Europe or North America, they throw away their passport. Do you know why they do that? Because if you appear illegally in any country with a passport of your home country, then you are not an undocumented immigrant. You are not an undocumented illegal immigrant. You are a documented illegal immigrant. What that country will do is arrest you and send you back to the country whose passport you bear. So if somebody having on him a Nigerian passport should cross illegally into Europe or some other country, that country will just arrest that person, look at the passport, and send the person back to Nigeria. So what many illegal immigrants, not only from Nigeria, from many parts of the world, what they do is that they throw away their passports, or some of them even never having one, and when they arrive in Europe, they arrive in North America, the countries of Europe and North America will say, look, we have a dilemma. Where do we send these people back to? They say, where did you come from? Those people may feign not knowing. They say, I don't know, or they decide not to be cooperative. And then many human rights activists will rise up and say, look, you don't even know where this man came from. Where are you going to send him to? So, now, listen to this. I'm reading this from premiumtimesng.com. It says, the agreement means that the Nigerian government will now recognize UK letters, an identification document issued to individuals without a valid passport, so people will no longer have to wait for emergency travel document to be issued before they can be returned. Now, many people are framing this as saying that, quote, Nigerians without valid documentation to be in the UK will now be easily deported home following the signing of an agreement between the two countries. Now, they are framing it to say that, this agreement will only require Nigerian government to take in or take back Nigerians who travel to the US without valid documentation. That those Nigerians, when they have traveled to the UK without valid documentation, will now be issued letters of identification by the UK that they will be sent to Nigeria, and Nigeria will recognize those letters of identification. Now, it is like being smart by half. You have to be very discerning to see the. You have to be very discerning to see the mischief here. So, what it means in essence is that anybody who bears a UK letter of identification, which identifies the person as a Nigerian, must then be taken in by Nigeria. So, this is what it means. Any black person from any part of the world that has crossed into the UK illegally, whom the UK wants to send back or wants to send away from the UK will be given a letter of identification by the UK. That person will be identified as a Nigerian, and under this deal, the Nigerian government must take that person in. And many people are saying, can we just wait for a moment? What did we just sign up to? What did you sign up to? And now it's beginning to make sense. It's beginning to make sense. When people were of the opinion earlier saying that, it must be somewhat, there must have been quite a deal between Nigeria and the United Kingdom for the United Kingdom to roll out the red carpet this way. And now we're beginning to understand that essentially Nigeria has agreed to take in anyone bearing a UK letter of identification as a Nigerian. Anyone to whom the UK has issued a letter of identification will be taken into Nigeria as if that person is Nigerian. We're talking about a country that is still struggling with what? With border security. We're talking about a country that is terrorized by bandits and kidnappers and genocidal thugs. We're talking about a country where crime is rife. We're talking about a country where policing is weak. We're talking about a country where immigration is beset by corruption. We're talking about a country where border security is almost next to nothing. That same country, Nigeria, has now agreed to take in those who are confirmed criminals. Anybody who travels illegally is a confirmed criminal. Don't even sugarcoat it. Who travels illegally and without valid paper is a confirmed criminal. So now we are agreeing to take them back in. In fact, the Premium Times report says to take back visa overstayers, failed asylum seekers, and criminals who have no documentation. So the UK, what the UK has got out of this visit, at least one of the things that the UK has got out of this visit, is that the UK now as a country to send the criminals, failed asylum seekers, and visa overstayers to. And if you have been following British politics and issues for quite a while, you must understand that this has been a recurrent matter with the British government. The British government was trying to settle an agreement like this with Rwanda before the Conservative Party government fell. It did not sail through. Now we understand that this deal has been signed with Nigeria, and obviously Nigeria has most gladly signed up to this deal. From where we stand, from what we know right now, this is not a sound deal. This is not a deal that benefits Nigeria in any way. Obviously, it benefits our leaders who have enjoyed the hospitality and the honor given to them by the British government and the monarch in the United Kingdom. But this is something that should really give us concern and should make us think again about how leaders, how human rulers, how they think. They think first about what comes to them, what honor comes to them, what benefit comes to them, and then secondarily about what impact their policies and programs will have on the people whom they have sworn to serve and to protect. Time will tell the implications of this deal, but what we know right now is that in geopolitics, people just don't give out honors to others without having something to extract from it. And those of us who are wise, those of us who have been called to be wise as serpent, should know this and should be clear-eyed when we evaluate developments like this, when we evaluate visits of this nature and deals of this nature. This is the time where you will say to yourself, I just hope the Nigerian government knows what it is doing. And maybe I hear somebody out there saying, don't kid yourself. They know exactly what they are doing, they just don't care. Because if you want to compound the problem of border security, of terrorism, of banditry, of kidnapping, of criminality, of weakness in policing, you want to compound all that with taking in visa overstayers, failed asylum seekers, and criminals from the UK. And bear in mind what I said earlier on, the people you are taking in, the agreement may say they will be Nigerians, but how do you know they're Nigerians? They don't have documentation in the first place. And the UK is desperate. Many nations in Europe are desperate to send people away from their countries because they have been besieged by these illegal migrants. We're not talking about legal migrants. Illegal migrants here. So they just issue letters of identification to anyone found to have entered their countries illegally and without documentation. And under this deal, Nigeria will be obliged to take them. What are we going to do with them? Many people are having all sorts of conspiracy theories about what the Nigerian government wants to do with them. But what we know is that this is not a wise deal to make. But hey, it reveals to us the nature of human rulers. I always say to people to go and read 1 Samuel to understand what the Lord has revealed to us about the nature of human government and human rulers. They will think of what will derive to them first before thinking of how it will impact their society. For those of us who are on the Lord's side, it ought not to be so. It is not every honor that you accept. If the honor is dubious, if it is questionable, if what you are going to give in exchange for it it's not something that will benefit your future, you don't do it. And all these fall under the general principle of weighing, of sitting back and analyzing deals before you enter into them. When Jesus said, what do you give in exchange for it? So every day in life, there are exchanges going on. When you decide to do this or not to do that, you are exchanging something for the other. What did the Tinubu government exchange for the opportunity to be so feted and honored by the British monarch and the British government? Was it this deal? And can we still expect more? For us on the Lord's side, we are to be discerning and wise people when we enter into deals and arrangements. If honor would be given only because you will be expected to give up something so valuable, please do not take it. And above all else, Jesus reminds us, if you are to be honored in exchange for you giving up your soul, of course, don't do it. That's the ultimate foolish deal ever in the world. The Lord will take care of this country and will give us rulers who truly love their people. Let us not cease to pray, and let us know that whatever happens, that is on the throne one who is king over all. I want to thank you for staying with us this morning on Gospel Best Radio for On the Lord's Side, Christian Perspectives on News and Current Events. I hope to be with you again on Monday by the grace of God. Whatever you do today, please remain firmly on the Lord's side. God bless you. God bless you very good.
You are listening to GospelBellsRadio.com, the Christian internet radio with a mission to engage the culture with the mind of Christ. Keep listening and invite others, too. God bless you.
Engaging the culture with the mind of Christ.
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 Engaging the culture with the mind of Christ.